So my AO2 command term question is explain and suggest reasons why PED decreasing is followed by an increase in demand. So why does PED vary even if the values of change or changes is the same? Well, the variation of PED is mostly due to mathematics. PED can be calculated using the equation percentage change in quantity demanded over percentage change in price. And even further than that, to get percentage change in quantity demanded, you need to subtract the old price from the new price and divide by the old price and multiply by 100. So if you have a change in price, for example, 2 to 4, and then another one from 6 to 8, the PED will vary due to the difference in the set of numbers, regardless of their similarity in unit changes. This is due to proportionality. The bigger the values you use, the bigger the PED, and the smaller the value you use, then the smaller the PED. Why and how does PED relate to the changes of total revenue? How does this relate to proportionality? Total revenue can be calculated by multiplying price by quantity demanded. With this in mind, we know that total revenue changes with price. Now, on the demand curve, when the price rises from 2 to 4, but decreases from 8 to 6, we see that both of the side parts of the graph move towards unit elasticity. But if the price decreased from 4 to 2 and the price decreased from 8 to 6, then the upper half of our demand function will be going closer to unit elasticity, which is the midway mark, but the lower part will be going closer towards inelasticity. And if the lower part went from 2 to 4 and the upper part went from 6 to 8, then the lower part would be going closer to unit elasticity, but the upper half would be going closer to elasticity. It relates to proportionality because the midpoint, aka unit elasticity, is when the graph is completely proportionate, and because the value of price and quantity are what determine the total revenue, because generally TR increases as PED approaches unit elasticity. However, if your values are elastic, then the PED increasing means that it would actually move from the top of the demand curve to the bottom. And if your PED is inelastic, that means that it would be moving from the bottom of the demand curve to the top of the demand curve. So the highest point of PED is at unit elasticity, which is the midpoint. So proportionality determines how PED relates to the change of TR. What factors affect the PED of a product? Factors that can affect the PED of a product can be divided into 5 categories that fall under the determinants of elasticity, and they are substitutes, proportionality of income, luxury versus necessity, addiction, and time to adjust. So for substitutes, if my desired product is a V-neck shirt, but I think it's overpriced or something like that, and my best option is a button-up shirt that is cheaper, then the PED for the V-neck shirt will go down because my substitute is a very good one. However, if my best option was a fringed pair of khaki shorts, then my PED would stay the same because fringed khaki shorts are just tacky and do not cover my torso. Therefore, they would be a bad substitute because they do not serve the same purpose as my original product, and I'd pay for my V-neck with my eyes closed because no to khaki pants. For income of proportionality of income, the more expensive the item is, then the more important the price differences are, because, for example, if I can buy my dream car for 250,000 Rand or a Corolla for 150,000 Rand, then I'd go for the Corolla because it wouldn't break the bank as much as I could, and as much as I could use my dream car for other purposes. I'm buying a car for a car, so the actual utility would be the same, and I could use an additional $100,000 for something else. But if we were talking about cake and the difference is 20 Rand, then the PED of my original product wouldn't be affected because 20 rand is not that much. Luxury versus necessity is sort of self-explanatory, because if I need something, then I have more incentive to buy it, and the same applies to addiction. If I'm addicted to it, then I have more incentive to buy it. If I have more time to adjust, then my PED would increase. But if I didn't, then it would stay the same. Thank you.